And this next question comes in from Too Much Sauce, who had a question about this gigabit service I'm looking at from Comcast. Now, if you missed my discussion last week, I'll put it down in the master playlist so you can see it. But in a nutshell, I am in an area that only has Comcast as a feasible broadband option. I have a phone company that offers like terrible DSL service, the same service they've been offering for the last 17 years. And Comcast really is my only high-speed offering. The big challenge we've had here on the channel is with uploads, because we're uploading to 4 different platforms. Part of YouTube Content ID system requires me to re-upload the extras channel content to Content ID in a separate upload. So we're uploading stuff all day long on top of doing some client work and some other things that I do on the side. And I'm really feeling the pinch here from a productivity standpoint, both for me, but also Corey, who I pay to upload stuff here on the channel as well, because he's spending a large portion of his day just babysitting uploads. Some platforms are more forgiving than others. So for example, if something happens and the upload on YouTube gets interrupted a third of the way through, you can just upload the file again and it will pick up from where it left off. But the other platforms we're working with are not as easy to work with on interruptions like that. And if we're trying to get a video up to multiple platforms at the same time, that 12 megabits per second, which is my max upload speed right now, gets divvied up 4 different ways. And you can imagine how long it takes to send up one of these weekly wrap-ups, for example. And we really need to get that dealt with, because I just feel like it's wasting my time and Corey's time, who I'm paying to do all this. So will I see a measurable return on investment here? I think probably, especially if I'm able to get more content into the pipeline, because we're not waiting for things to upload. We can start working on the next video. I think that might certainly help. And I just need the speed, because it's just getting really frustrating. I had a client project that required me to upload a video in ProRes format to a broadcaster, and that, I think, was like a 2-minute video. It was like 8 or 10 gigabytes in total size, and you can imagine how long that took to get up there, and if I had some other issue, it would be a big problem. He's also wondering about why or how this can be profitable for Comcast in the long run, and I think it is really not something that they would discontinue, because it doesn't actually change their infrastructure. And that is why this is so hard for them to install, and why it's such a production to get it installed. So let me show you what's hanging out outside of my driveway here. This is a node. This is called a fiber to coax node. And this device takes fiber optic cable from one of the Comcast fiber taps and converts it to coax cable. That is how Comcast serves a majority of their customers. But there is fiber optic cable running right by my house, and they can very easily just run another cable for me for this service, and it basically bypasses this coax thing completely, and that's how they're able to deliver that speed in a way that doesn't disrupt the rest of their infrastructure. It's already there. They've got apparently enough bandwidth on these fiber optic lines now to make this work for me. And that's how they're going to do it. I don't think this is something that they would offer to the world, because it's just not sustainable in that sense. They'd have to run a lot more fiber optic cable, and their network architecture doesn't really support that. But I think what they found is that most customers are focused on the downstream speed, which they're able to deliver in higher and higher volumes, because there is so much available bandwidth on those coax cables, and they're able to keep their architecture the same for the most part. The upload is really where the challenge is, and consumers to Comcast are just not demanding upload speed as much as they are download speed. And in this instance, they're able to come out and give people who do need that upload speed, the minority of us, the service they need at a high price, but they're offering it at a price that's not completely out of bounds for me. And that is, I think, how they're going to keep some of the local smaller ISPs out of the market from competing with them. Because if they can make me happy, and maybe the half dozen other people around the area that need this kind of upload speed, then perhaps we won't be so eager to try to convince one of these smaller ISPs to come in, or organize ourselves to do so. They can just offer it to those who need it, and then continue giving the rest of the consumers the download speeds that they want. And many consumers fall into the tyranny of the default. Comcast is what we use, and it's just easy to write the check every month and not have to think about how you could be doing better, and that is what's going on. But there is fiber optic cable from Comcast running in front of your house right now, and if you see one of these larger rectangular boxes, there is fiber going into that thing and then converting it out to coax. And if you go out on your telephone poles around your home, you'll see these little orange tags hanging up on the cable to indicate that it is a fiber optic cable. So from the Comcast standpoint, this is not all that difficult to maintain, and it does work within their existing infrastructure, and it's only going to continue this way until customers really need or want more upload speed, and I don't see a majority of consumers asking for that in the near future. But fiber nodes to coax are not the only way Comcast is now delivering service to customers. I got this note from Christopher Dale about how Comcast hooked up his home, and it looks like he's in a newer neighborhood, and in this instance, he's running something called RF over glass, where there is fiber optic coming in from Comcast, and they convert it to coax inside the home. So in many ways, this is kind of like a mini node that's in the house, and what it does, it spits out coax here, so Comcast can offer Christopher the same hardware that they might offer to somebody in a coax-only neighborhood. But it looks like Comcast is starting to see there's probably some value here just to getting fiber run to start with, and then as time and technology advance, they'll be able to convert more of these newer neighborhoods over to fiber optic technology easier. And of course, that certainly would be with the fiber coming directly into the home versus a node somewhere else in the neighborhood. So I think this is where they're going. They're seeing fiber being the future, and ultimately, I think for everyone, we'll have faster connections. But again, it's a matter of consumers needing that upstream bandwidth and communicating that to their vendors, and we'll have to see how long it takes for more of us to need more upstream bandwidth before I think we have more general service offerings from the big ISPs. And Terry Malone made a very good point on last week's wrap-up that really the first 28.8K of a gigabit connection is about 90% of gigabit's value in human terms, just because it doesn't take all that much to send some text through at that speed. You could get an email very quickly, even at 28.8, and it's really hard to really measure a much greater value to that faster connection if you were just sending text back and forth. And from the standpoint of the Gutenberg press level of innovation that the internet provided the world, and that everybody could send words to each other so much faster than ever before, that certainly is something you could achieve even with a dial-up modem. But it's the video that's really driving everything. It's driving me. That's how I run this business, and it's driving me in the sense that I have to be able to upload more video faster to more places, and people who are consuming video, of course, are demanding all of that downstream video, and video really is what's clogging up the net and what's also leading to all of these major policy debates, specifically around net neutrality and other things. I think if we didn't have all this video to push around, we probably wouldn't be arguing as much about how the internet should or should not be regulated. But I thought that was a very good comment, and definitely something worth thinking about.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Too Much Sauce, Gerard Newberg, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.